best part of your personal page is that you don't have to stick with the brand.
My brand is me.
Yeah.
I am my brand, and that means I am chaotic and artsy and creative. We were just saying right before we went live again that I just learned how to make reels.
Yes.
So I'm very excited about it. I'm having a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I only have, I don't have professional and private social media. I just have one because when I got back on, my commitment was I'm just going to do one, and my whole thing it was January 2023 was I really adopted this mindset of I'm going to monetize being myself.
Love.
And that was something on social media that I always felt really split over for the 4 or 5 years before that, having like a private page and then making, a business page and having them separate was this feeling on top of it just being more than I wanted to manage. It felt like a dissonance there. So when I got back on, I was like, it's going to be one page. It's naturally Rosie. This is all of me. Here it is.
Yep.
Do what you want with it.
Absolutely.
We are back. This is the second half of my conversation with Nechama Henderson. She is Jew from the I always want to say the Jew from the Lou.
It kind of is. It's officially Jew from the Lou, but I am the...
Right. You are the
Jew from the Lou.
Yes.
I've got the LLC and everything.
Yes. She's the host of Jew from the Lou podcast. And budding coffeepreneur. So you have your own coffee shop now?
So yes and no. So it's I like to say, I think it's easier to explain I have my own coffee brand. Okay. Because the dream is to have a brick and mortar. We are currently online. So I have my own lineup, my signature collection of my coffee beans.
Cool.
So I work with a local roaster, First Crack Coffee, and I've curated the experience that I've always wanted to have when I drink each roast. So I have a light roast, my honey Colombian, my medium roast is a Guatemalan, and my dark roast is a Sumatra. And I am currently working on a decaf option, which is going to be a medium roast. I'm very excited about that. And just last week, I'm not sure when this is going to go live, but just February 17th, we went live with our pre-orders for our K-Cups.
Oh, exciting. Yeah.
Because there's two demographics, right? Like, we've got our coffee connoisseurs who want that specialty single origin premium coffee. This is very premium. It's expensive. I know it's expensive. It's worth more. I should charge more. But I'm charging it at a price that I feel is market price and it's fair. And once you taste it, you'll know it's liquid gold. It's fabulous, if I do say so myself. I'm just really proud of it. Like, this was a Pinterest board last year, and now it's like a tangible product.
It's like your baby.
It is my baby.
Your baby.
I
always think I have friends who have children, right? Lots of friends who have children, and I'm often when I get tempted to get in like a comparison mode, right? Like you, like I've been aiming for marriage and motherhood my whole life.
Yeah.
And I actually, when we were in Maui recently, I connected with a woman who had we were on a nude beach, and she had 4 naked babies running around all over her, and
you're like, I see my future.
Yeah, right, totally. And she asked me at one point, Brandon and our friend were out in the water, and she was like, is that your boy? Or maybe I said, that's my boyfriend. She was like, is he who you want to marry and have kids with? And I said yes. And she was like, why don't you? And I said it's not time yet. And she was like, you're not sure? And I was like, no. and it's like, so no boundary, like, no, it's not time. And okay, thanks for the prompt to give a deeper answer. Why isn't it time? I already have, not the same thing, okay, but I already have a baby right now. It's called my business. Right. Well, mine's a toddler right now. Okay, I have a toddler right now. It's called my business.
Snaps.
Right? Like, part of the reason I'm pouring so much into my business now is because by the time I have children, I don't want my business to be a toddler. I want my business to be a 10-year-old that can kind of manage by itself a little bit, right? While still using my guidance and care and nurturing to make room for the actual infants in my life, right?
Not that you need my validation, but I will validate you in saying that, like, that was a little harsh coming from her for many reasons. But I will say this, I appreciate and validate your decision because I think the fact that, like, you found your person is the hardest part, in my opinion. You guys know this is where you want to end up. So that's already such a hurdle because when you're single, that process is challenging to find the one. Like in Judaism, we say finding your match is like parting the Red Sea. It's a miracle and it's hard, right? But it's not hard for God. But you found your person. Now it's about the timing, and you guys will know when the timing is right. And I think it is so responsible to not just rush bringing a child into this world because I think it is a tremendous responsibility. And you're 29, you're not 39, you're not 49. You have time.
So much time.
You have time.
So much time.
You have time. And if you are meant to be a mother, you will be a mother when you are supposed to be a mother. There is no time. I believe that. I don't, because turning 28 for the first time, not only am I thinking about finding the right person, all of a sudden now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to hear that biological clock, the pressure, right? My friends are getting pregnant. My friends are having kids. They're married, right? Married wasn't such a big difference, but having kids is a different lifestyle, right? And like the baby fever. I love children, but I'm not ready to be a mom right now. Part of it is that I haven't found the guy, so that would help. But the thing is, I know in my gut that I will be a mother. I know that I will be a wife, and I'm not concerned about time, even though I do feel the pressure a little bit. In the end of the day, my faith, and this is how I define faith according to how I learned in Kabbalah, which I love, which is I have certainty beyond logic that I am meant to be a mother. And if these souls are supposed to come into the world through me, they will. Period. At the right time. The other thing is, yeah, maybe you know you want to get married. Why is she talking to you? She should be talking to him. That's his job to propose to you. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Brandon knows we joke about this. He knows I wouldn't say yes right now.
Okay, so he's being smart.
Yeah.
But back to the coffee thing. Yeah, so I wanted to hit both demographics, right? Because there's people who will take the time, have their whole coffee station, right? Whether it's pour overs or they've got their Breville or whatever espresso machine they're using. But for others, they want good coffee, but their moms, their dads, they got to run to work. They don't have the patience to curate that perfect cup of coffee. Let's go. Let's get a K-cup going for you. You got a Keurig machine. For about $1.50 a cup, you get an extraordinary cup of coffee that doesn't taste like your typical K-cup, freshly roasted, and you're supporting local and a small business and a female-owned business.
You ship everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. Right now we're just within the nation, so only United States. But yes.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So cool.
Yeah, and the vision, actually, everything that I love comes together with my end vision, which is I want this brick and mortar. So to have my own coffee shop, to curate my connections with people, because I love people. Really, all of this is that I just love people and I love talking. So getting to meet all kinds of people. I love nurturing people. I've got this inner mama bear in me where like the idea of making people coffee and food is just thrilling to me. So having that, then plus having a podcast studio in there. So I could, for myself, meet cool people and be like, yo, let's go back and like just record a podcast. But also I want to rent the space out to up and coming podcasters who maybe don't know where to start. I need a little guidance or want to rent a space. And I even had a vision recently where like I wanted to be a coffee and wine bar. But now I've met a lot of people who are on their sobriety journey or are just in a stage of life where they're not wanting the typical bar scene. And I don't like drunk people and I'm not a drinker. So I thought about making it completely a mocktail bar in a very elegant bar type setting, but no alcohol, which would also be nice because then I don't have to worry about getting a liquor license.
Yeah.
So there's benefits. This is a new idea that just came to me like last week, so you're the first to hear.
Oh, cool. Aw, I'm honored.
Yeah. And your subscribers.
Yes. You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first.
I've really loved the few non-alcoholic bars that I've been to. I love the vibe that's like nightlife, but yeah, elegant, sophisticated, and clear, right? Not the sense of
boundaries. There's boundaries, right?
There's boundaries. We're grounded. It's intentional. I can trust that we're there more or less being ourselves, right? Or at least more than we would be if we were drinking.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never got into drinking or drugs of any kind. Simply because I joke about this a lot, where I'm like, maybe it's just my Jewish background, where I'm like, I just want to feel the pain and suffering without anything just like leveling it out. Like, I don't want to escape from it. I feel like the fastest way to heal is to accept the pain and work through it, because the way I always saw it was, I don't want to rely on something external to feel good. Because I believe everything we want is within us already. We just have to learn to tap into it and nurture it. It doesn't have to be natural, you can grow it. And also, let's say you're feeling really sad or angry, and so you go on a drinking binge and you wake up the next morning, your reality has not changed. You have a crashing hangover, and it doesn't help. It's just an addiction, and it's expensive. So I guess my practical side was just like, I never got it.
I love that you were so prepared with thoughts and awareness, like, we have to feel to heal. Everything you have is already inside you, etc. Like we were talking about in the first half, that is so rare. That young people are given that kind of awareness by the people who are raising them.
Yeah, absolutely. Big part of my growth. And I learned about Kabbalah can we go into Kabbalah now?
Please.
I learned about that like within the past year, and I call it like a toolkit. It's not a religion, it's the science of the soul. And there's no cult, even though people think it's like that. It's no like gathering. I mean, there are groups that gather, but me, I just took a master class online. I listened to the podcast, the David Guillen podcast, or you can just look up Kabbalah1.com to get the masterclass, and it's pay as you can. I think I paid $1, and I got the whole masterclass, and it was like, I want to say 20 videos, maybe 10 videos, but like each one was an hour. And then there was like sub videos to like really go deeper into those conversations as well. There was like sheets and homework. Like, it was very introspective journey. But like, as someone who was like grew up super religious, I'm still a very spiritual person. And so I need something higher than me to connect. But I feel a little burnt out with religion right now. So like, there's still elements of it that I keep, like Shabbat or kosher in my home. But there's other elements that are difficult for me. And so like I said, it's a journey. So I really got into, when I was like 23, law of attraction. I really liked that concept of manifesting and energy. And I'm a very big proponent of not playing a victim in terms of, I like to take accountability for what's in my life, because I realize that when I'm angry at others for the results in my life, even if someone else did cause pain, they're living their life and they're just fine. The only one suffering is me, right? So the basis of Kabbalah, just my little sneak preview and my obsession, my elevator pitch, is that there is, whether you believe in God or Creator, whatever aligns with you, Creator, we'll just say for the purpose of this conversation, like wants to give you all the desires of your heart. It's not like, oh, you could only be successful in business, but you can't be a mom and a dad too, right? Or you can't also have a super amazing social life. Like, it's not like, oh, pick one area to be successful and the rest will fall. You should and deserve to have everything you want in this world. And the only thing stopping you from getting everything you want is yourself and your limiting beliefs. And I loved that, because that is self-development. That is personal accountability. That's taking on a non-victim mentality, right? To the point where our souls even choose the challenges that we go through. And so, like, for example, on a very dark note, but like suicide, if someone chooses to check out early, you will have to come back to this world and go through everything again. And when I heard that, I was like, forget it. I'm just going to work my way through this pain. I've made it this far. I could keep going. I've made it through my worst days. I've made it through my best days. And Satan, or Satan in Hebrew, his role is to act like your coach, if you will. His role is to make you reactive. So you can imagine if you're late to something and you're going through all these lights and you're hitting every red light, you can physically feel yourself tensing. Anxiety, anger, worry, fear, any of these reactive states. And in that moment, if you could pause, there is so much power in the pause. That's the first step. Just pausing. Even just that alone is powerful. And the next step is, what a pleasure. What a pleasure that I'm going through this. And then the next level is that faith that I was saying earlier, which is certainty beyond logic. So despite what I see right now, I'm believing that life is happening for me, not to me. And that despite what I see, despite what my logic mind knows, I believe that the creator of the world wants to give me everything. And everything's working out for me. So it's this or better, right? And learning to detach from a specific job, a specific role, a specific person or outcome, and saying like, I just trust that God has the best in store for me. He wouldn't have given me this desire if I wasn't meant to have it. And you can speed up the process because we have to go through pain. Otherwise, if someone were to just make you a viral podcaster overnight, you wouldn't feel like you deserved it. You'd be like, I don't even know how to handle all this fame and fortune, right? So there has to be a learning curve, a process, an earning, if you will. Otherwise, we have bred a shame. And so what that means is you have to just go through the process, let go and detach, and know that it's all going to work out for you.
Kabbalah.
There's way more to it than that, but that's my elevator pitch.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to I mentioned to you that I re-enrolled in grad school, and I was listening to a lecture the other day, and this isn't the first time, but it was the most recent time that I've heard Kabbalah mentioned as one of many esoteric traditions that have kept alive the just a very high level of self-reflection in the human species. And I love that no matter what position we're in, like the light shines through. Like no matter what perspective we're working with, like the light is trying to shine through. It's only us that's ever in our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it's it's exciting, but if you're not where you want to be, that's also really nerve-wracking. And like when we were saying at the end of our first half, where it was like just start, a good way to start is like things can either happen bi'ito in its proper time, because we all have fate, we all have destiny. But if you want to speed up this process of not going through as much pain, then that is when you have the pause, accept what is, and then say, what a pleasure. And I have certainty beyond logic that this is all going to work out. And that faith is what is going to speed up things in your life.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. Like pain is something that we experience inevitably as humans.
Yeah.
Whether we hold on to that or not, whether we continue feeding that pain, and then it becomes suffering. Whether or not we choose to nourish the pain as pain or choose to shine the light of pleasure on it becomes a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to go into sharing that tidbit that I teased about at the end of the first episode that I shared with you, that I like as you're talking about your podcast and the process and reflecting on the journey of your podcast and then offering so much to other podcasters both now and in the future. I'm aware of some feelings of light feelings of grief and relief as I feel my podcast slipping away, no longer being a priority in my life in the direction that I'm going. yeah, as I make room, as I make more room for school, as I make more room for my clients and new ways that I'm building community online, and more time for writing. And I imagine that maybe me hosting a podcast will continue at a with less frequent intervals throughout, or maybe circle back around at a later point.
Yeah, I would
But it,
say if you're feeling grief, what I would suggest then is you don't have to let it go entirely. Maybe it's just more of reframing how often you do it, right? Like once a month, even.
I feel content with how I'm being present with the process.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Grief to me is I mean, to me, that's like a letting go of an old version of me.
Okay. So you're ready to move on, but you're still allowing yourself to feel the sadness of letting go.
Yeah, more or less. I'm being present with the process.
Yeah.
So it no longer feels what I'm feeling more called to is like I mentioned, being on other people's podcast as a form of expression, and then focusing more on the direct community impact that I'm building.
That makes sense because you'll have more reach when you go onto different people's podcasts to
Yeah.
grow your business, share who you are, what you do, why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ta-da!
There's plenty of options. There's definitely plenty of options. I remember I am I just released episode 39, and I remember Mr. Beast shared a little viral snippet, if you will, where he said that if you want to be a creator, you should create 100 videos. And then maybe you'll be a creator. Your first 100 videos will probably suck. You're going to think they're great. They're not. And I thought it was just super powerful because it's the power of consistency. It's the power of getting there. And it reminds me of I keep mentioning him and I keep not knowing his name. But there was a speaker from like the 50s, 60s who I heard a speech, and he said, everyone should want to become a millionaire. Not to be a millionaire, but for who you will need to become a millionaire. And I felt that was kind of the same thing that Mr. Beast was saying as well, where it's like, it's not about, going viral, because going viral isn't what's going to make you a creator. What's going to make you a creator is creating the process, the learning, the evolution of it, right? And it's funny because I recently joined Babes in Business, and I love it because I've met so many women and entrepreneurs in so many different fields. And I met people who are like me, who are just starting, and it's their baby and it's in its infancy. I call it my planting season, where you're working but you haven't seen the fruits of your labor just yet. And then I also see, on the other hand, people who are 15 years in and still having doubts, worries, and fears and all these things, right? And questioning themselves every day. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't stop. Good to know. But there's something so powerful about being in that group, because I see that a lot of women will be like, well, I'm still figuring it out. I don't know it all. And I think that as women, that's something we do. We apologize for our success. We want to downplay our knowledge and what we know. And I don't agree with that, because even, let's say, both with my coffee entrepreneurship and with my podcast, I'm constantly learning things all the time. And when things break down, you learn nothing from success and everything from failure, right? I know so much more about microphones and sound systems than I ever wished or cared to know about. But I had to learn, because when they broke, sometimes I had people assisting me, but for the most part, it was on me to fix it. And so, that being said, do I know it all? Absolutely not. Am I always learning? Absolutely yes. But I also would say that through that trial and error, through failing, and then therefore not accepting failure, because failure isn't permanent. Failure just means in that moment something didn't work, and so I'm going to regroup, rethink, retry until I figure it out. That's the entrepreneurial mindset. And then there's a confidence that grows where I'm like, listen, even if all fails and things go wrong, everything is figure it outable. And I trust that I have the community and the resources to fix this. There never was a better time to start new things between ChatGPT, Google, and YouTube. And the amount of people out there who are willing to collaborate and support you, like there's so many groups out there, you truly have no excuse, except you don't want to. And that's a hard pill for people to swallow. It's not that you can't, you don't want to. And that's okay. But there's a difference. Words are powerful.
It's true. Yeah, that's very good. And acknowledging, so for people who are in that spot of, I don't want to, and there's a lot of power, like Nechama is indicating, from acknowledging that the reason I'm not moving forward is because I don't want to. Even if the insight doesn't, even if you don't notice an insight or shift in energy right away, over time, if you continue taking responsibility for, the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to, that will open up deeper intuitive insight to where you will start to feel motivated to make change. And maybe just acknowledging that you don't want to do something will start having you question more, well, okay, then what do I want? What do I want? And maybe after a while you'll feel, maybe you won't be able to notice anything, and you'll just notice, oh gosh, I don't want anything. There's like a numbness there, because it's either going to be numbness or contentment, right? You're either going to be like, I'm content with what I have. Yep. And in that case, like, cool, that's great. If you're happy, no need to change it. If you're content, no need to change anything. Right. Or you'll feel a sense of numbness, of a lack of desire, a lack of feeling underneath that question of what do I want. And if you fully embrace that, you'll likely realize that that's not good enough, that there's some kind of red flag there's like waving at you.
You may not know the answer right away either. I sure didn't. It can take a few months, years to like unfold that and unpack that,
Yeah, so there's a practice there of being present with the process.
Love that.
Yeah. And allowing things to be what they are. I find that most suffering, and then over time, as we clean up the suffering, then even pain arises because we are resisting being with what is, because we're resisting to accepting what is. And so as we can lean into first acknowledging, I've been talking about this a lot lately with my clients and in my writing, 5 steps to creating a fulfilling life. Be present with yourself, accept yourself, embrace yourself, and be, presence, acceptance, presence, acceptance, knowing, embracing as in love, and then expression. So that first step is, all steps are really important, but you can't get anywhere. You can't get any deeper than you can be present with. And then the second step, accepting what you're seeing. The third step, understanding it or knowing it. Fourth step, appreciating it, having gratitude for it, loving it, including the dark, uncomfortable things. And then 5, expressing that, sharing that with other people.
It will hold you accountable when you share it with others, for sure. I think that's kind of the fun thing with Instagram that I found is posting isn't just a way of sharing. It's almost like a way of holding yourself accountable to your audience, to the public. And I think there's also something really important as well, is that when you're working on something, especially if it's like a project or a business, people are watching. Even if they're not telling you, even if they're not applauding you, even if they're not commenting, you could be inspiring someone. You could be inspiring jealousy in someone, which I'm okay with as well, because jealousy I don't think is necessarily a bad energy per se, because it's all about what does the person do with that, right? Like if I'm jealous of another podcast success, well, I could sit there and just sit in that dark energy, and that's not productive, and that's on me. That's not on anyone else. Or I could be like, okay, I'm not there. Let's reverse engineer. How can I get there? Right? And I think also another powerful thing is sometimes you need to figure out what your why is. Not sometimes, you do. You need to figure out what your why is, because even the most exciting dream is going to come with responsibilities, is going to come with struggle and hardship, and just the reality of, in the end of the day, especially if it's business. My adopted grandmother, Safta Kramer, she was from the South, and she would be like, had this gorgeous Southern drawl. I remember when I was like complaining to her about work once, and I just felt bored and didn't feel like super, motivated. Because as someone with ADD, I have moments of concentrated fire, passion, and energy. And then I'll just be like not productive for periods of time, which I'm working on. But she'd be like, well, Nechama, that's why they call it work. Because if it was supposed to be fun, they'd call it fun, Aww. Sometimes you just gotta do the work, and it's not always gonna be fun, right? And it's like, what's funny is like you'll be describing kind of like the highlight reel of your life to others, and they're like, wow, that's so amazing. But the reality of the day-to-day practice, you wake up, you brush your teeth, you show up for whatever work you're doing to pay your bills. It's not always glamorous.
Definitely not always glamorous. I do find that work can be increasingly fun through a shift in attitude. That when I started embracing play as something that was more of an attitude than an activity.
I love that.
That really helped me integrate work and play. Yeah, and now people ask me, people are like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I work, I see clients, I go to school. What do I do? Well, I mean, all of that's fun to me.
Yeah.
And I go to the gym, I do yoga and breath work, and as I'm listing these things, right, I tend to become aware of these things sound like work to other people. They used to sound like work to me.
Yeah.
But I genuinely really enjoy all of these things now.
I think you're at a point in your life where you've curated a life that you're generally really pumped about.
Yeah.
And that's awesome,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I love what your grandmother said, though, especially because we can't get to the point where we're living a life that we love without going through very difficult, often external, but certainly internal work, right? Like facing the parts of ourselves that we tend to want to push away. So even if someone has like a job, like a 9-to-5 that they do actually really enjoy, but they're striving, and they feel a sense of like, I want more than this.
Yeah.
The way to do that is through challenging inner work.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, we're both, you and I are entrepreneurs, but not everyone has to be an entrepreneur.
Totally.
Some people really have other aspirations, or they really like their 9-to-5 job. Like, it really fills them with purpose, because like we said, sometimes not everyone's an entrepreneur. Sometimes you align with someone else's vision and mission, and like, you don't want to be dealing with all the stuff of being a business owner, or you don't like the chaos of not knowing what your day is going to look like, and that's okay too. This is just my ADD, can I share like a really cute story about my grandmother too?
Please.
So,
same
like,
grandmother?
Yeah, same
Can you
one.
do her voice again?
Yeah, I 100% will.
Yes.
She's just gorgeous. She unfortunately just passed away this past year at 100. And I actually have an interview with her as well. I forgot which episode number it is, but it's the one with the centenarian. So check it out. It's very sweet. It was short because, at that point in her life, she was much older. But when I met her, she was 89. And I met her because my high school had this program. She's not a blood relative, but my high school had this program called Adopt a Grandmother, where there was women in the Jewish community whose husbands had passed on, their families were kind of busy, and they wanted to make sure these women weren't lonely. And so we would do charity work in school, and we were required to get a certain amount of hours. And there was all different kinds of opportunities so you could find what aligned with you. And one of them was this Adopt a Grandmother program where you would go and visit them and spend time with them. And I already had a grandmother in the city, so I was like, I don't need this. But again, I was very shy, and there was a girl a year older than me who I always wanted to be friends with, but I never had the guts to just be like, hey, you want to hang out? And they were asking for people to volunteer to visit different women. And this one was for Genevieve Kramer, or as I like to call her, Safta, which is how you say grandmother in Hebrew, Safta Kramer. And my friend who I would sit next to, we weren't friends yet, but we were friendly. She was a grade above me. She like rose her hand. She's like, I'll go visit. And I was like, this is my chance. I was like, I'll go too. And so we went. I remember we were so full of ourselves. We're like, we're so nice. Look at us going on our free time to visit an old woman. Such annoying little high schoolers. And we went, and she entertained us. And she humbled us in the best way possible because we realized what a rich life she had, how much she had to offer. I went pretty much every week for years, even when I was out of high school. And when I first started visiting her, she was 89, and I visited her pretty much up to the day she passed. Unfortunately, the last year, my dad was pretty sick, so I didn't get to go as much, and I still feel so much guilt about it. But I, to this day, have so many quotes and memories from her, and she's just an incredibly special person. So when I was in my early 20s and I was going through a rough time about not having a husband yet, she would always say, my mother, of blessed memory, would say, white. Just white. And when the time is right, the sky will open up and the man will fall down and knock on your door.
Aww.
And she's like, so God brought World War II.
Oh my God.
She was like, when I grew up.
Oh my God.
She's like, when I grew up 100 years ago back in Knoxville, Tennessee, there were no Jewish men. And she was like, and me and my sister would always complain how we're never going to get married because there's no men. And my mother would say, white, just white. And then what happened was the college camp. Oh, that's so cute. The college campus the World War II happened, and then the college football field was used to train air cadets. So every 6 months, we got a fresh shipment of young men, and we would find the Jewish ones and invite them over for Shabbat and for the holidays. She's like, and me and all 8 of my girlfriends married air cadets. And then she would always end the story by saying, now, Nechama, hopefully God will not have to bring World War III for you to find your husband. And I love that. Like, I thought that was so sweet. And it goes back into, like, my whole passive manifester thing where it's like, I just have this thought. I had 3 thoughts when I was 19. One was that I was going to get married later. And in my culture, late 20s, 30s is later, right? Because we get married super young. I knew I was going to get married later. I knew that I was going to have twin boys. I don't know why. Lord help me. It's just this gut feeling that I have. And I'm going to have a girl too. So it's like, Lord help me. And I also just had this feeling that the guy that I was going to marry wasn't going to be Jewish. At least yet, if that makes sense. So it's like, I just don't think he's going to be Jewish by birth. And I was really frustrated by all those things. But it's just my gut feeling. So we'll see how life plays out.
Yeah, interesting. Some
Right?
cool premonitions.
But it's just more about, like, my rabbi said something really great too. I have a little clip on my Instagram page for my Jew from the Lou of this, where he said, it's the man's job to pursue you, and your job is to be happy. So just focus on you and being happy and not rushing and trying to chase love. And instead, he's like, if you were in a coma in a cave and it was your time, your guy would find you. So don't worry. Like, it will be okay. I think the issue is that people have these expectations of the timelines of their life.
I'm increasingly grateful that my mom had me when she was 36.
Oh, wow.
She had my brother when she was 41.
Okay.
By the time let's see, I guess she finished her PhD when my brother was like 3.
Wow.
You know, like she was
a little bit of a late bloomer, in a sense.
Yeah.
According to society standards.
Totally. Yeah, like in the sense that she didn't do. She didn't finish her PhD when she was 27 or get. So she was married before she was married to my dad and didn't have any children. So she was doing other things beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm infinitely grateful for having the example of a mother who, was unorthodox in her timing.
I love hearing this. This is great.
Yeah, who showed me, not just in her timing, but in, I mean, a woman who also always wanted to have children, like very committed to that dream of motherhood, and who loved school, pursued, has a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD, didn't sacrifice one for another, right? Like you were saying earlier, it's not either or. How about yes and more?
Yes and more. Yeah. This and better.
Yes.
Yep.
And who, I'm even to the point of, she chose to get a divorce from her first husband, right? She was not going to settle for something that was less than what she felt she was worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a really great mom for me.
I love that. It's important, and it's such a blessing to have that.
Yeah. And then I took it to a whole nother level. I was like, Mom, you thought you were unorthodox, but
watch me.
Check this out.
Watch me. I'm going to create my own path.
I applied for, there's a TV show that runs around Mother's Day in St. Louis called Mama Said.
Cute.
I've never seen it before. I just met one of the directors spontaneously over the holidays at Half Price Books, and she was like, I'm doing this thing and you should audition, so here's the thing.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so I sent my writing, I sent my script to them, and I'll see if I get a call back. And it was through writing that piece, that I realized consciously for the first time that my mom, and now I firmly believe this, that my mom knew that she had a unique daughter. She had a daughter that was going to carve her own path long before I realized that.
Okay.
And that was why she never put pressure on me to be a certain way. My grandmommy was very focused on how my mom presented, how she dressed, how she looked in other ways, how she represented the family and the community. And my mom, feeling the pressure of all of that, was very committed to relating to me in a way that taught me, especially that what was on the inside was more important than how we present on the outside. And I can see increasingly so, that was why she put as little pressure on me as she did. So growing up, there was, I missed the feeling of having a mom tell me what to do that I saw so many of my friends getting from their moms.
I got you. So your mom went the opposite extreme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And for a long time, there was this sense of kind of resentment of, why couldn't you be more available for me to learn from you, process from you, etc. And now I'm like, I can see how at points, especially when I was really young, she would offer me things and I was obstinate, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And so she just learned really early. She was like, this is a child that's going to want to do her own thing. And actually, she probably had the insight, having been a teacher for decades, that if she put more pressure on me, she would probably end up pushing me into actually rebelling.
Yep.
Yeah.
I relate to you on many levels with that. It is a wild thing to realize that our parents are human. That happens at some point in everyone's life. And it's at first something it's scary because it brings out the humanity in us, right? It makes us feel very vulnerable. It makes us realize that, oh God, to a certain extent, no one knows what they're doing, and it's everyone's first time, right? Like, it gives you and when you get to a certain point of maturity, you give a certain grace to your parents. You're like, this is their first time doing it too, being a parent too. They're learning how to be a mom while I'm learning how to live life. And they do the best they can with this toolkit that they have, So again, that goes into that mode of not being a victim and just like learning to have grace for other people. It's hard because again, we have expectations and there's still maybe certain desires or certain needs that we wish we would have had met. But in the end of the day, Mel Robbins has a book that I really want to read, but I've just heard her quote it for sure. It's just let them. You do not have control over anyone else's actions. But what is, and this is a Kabbalah concept, but what is very powerful is when you change your energy and you take responsibility for yourself, you will change others around you naturally because they'll be, everything's energy. So people are responding to that.
Yeah. Beautiful. What, so we're getting into the last 15 minutes or so. I'm curious what edges you're running up against in your life right now that you're noticing. What growing edges?
Like edges or like pain points?
That is what I mean by that term, yes.
Pain points, okay.
So it's the idea that we're expanding, right? So as we expand, we meet edges that then we have to, find a way to push past.
It's so appropriate that we're meeting at this particular time because this is like very relevant to what I'm going through at the moment. A big part of it is that for me, specifically with my coffee business, I worked corporate. I had an employee mindset. So learning to have a CEO and employer mentality, even though I don't have like a group of people working under me yet, learning to shift how I approach things, learning to realize that if I don't do things, they won't get done, and how my business partner responds. Like, in the end of the day, he is an asset, but this is my business. My name is on the LLC. It is my baby. It's one of his businesses that he is helping to grow and nurture. It is my entire life and existence. I am dedicating myself completely to this. I was the one who came up with the logo. I was the one who came up with the initial idea. He's just a soundboard to help me. And he has a network of people and investors who can help turn this into a reality. And I think initially when we started working together, I lacked confidence and I relied a little too heavily on him as a sounding board to the point where I was not trusting my own gut feelings and autonomy. And so something that has been within even just the past week has been a huge shift in me, and a conversation we literally just had last week is I need to be the hardest working person in this relationship because I am the shareholder, majority shareholder. I am the one with the name on the LLC. This is my business. And people will only invest as much as I'm willing to invest. And learning to be like, okay, I don't have it all figured out, but I got this. And I'm smart and I'm resourceful and I have the resources out there if I'm not resourceful, right? And it's just learning to have that confidence in me is something new, where I think I was always looking to someone else for permission to be successful. And when I said earlier that my word of the year was surrender, I did not mean that I'm passive or that I'm handing off my autonomy and my authority to others. I meant that I'm going to show up and give 110%, but I am surrendering to God, because that's what source and creator means for me. I'm surrendering to God to say, I'm going to show up and I'm going to take action steps every single day, but who is going to be the one who's going to help me actually get this? How the money and the investors are going to come my way, how and when, and all these things. I'm surrendering, holding on, and clenching to the outcome. It's more of like, I believe I was given this desire, this dream, this vision for a reason. And I'm trusting that every action I take, big or small, whether it's answering emails or reaching out to people on Instagram or creating a post or creating new products, sometimes it's bigger things like events. Sometimes it's as small as responding to an email. Every actionable step that I take, I believe with certainty beyond logic is going to make it happen. And I think like that's just the pain point for me, is just for the first time cutting out all the noise and looking to others for permission to be successful, and just focusing on God and being like, you're my business partner. We got this. Help me. Show me the opportunities. Show me that I have this. Help me have the strength and the ambition and the energy to manage my time well, to be able to find the opportunities, to be able to speak eloquently and to be able to have these important conversations, right? And even with my podcast is a little further than my coffee shop. I'm very excited about where my podcast is at because I'm now at the point where I have guests who have had such amazing experiences that they are introducing other guests. You were an introduction that I had from John, and now Wayne is an introduction that I had from you. I'm also getting people just randomly DMing me being like, we would love to be on your podcast. We love what you do. And another thing that's come of this is just putting myself out there. Like, I became the sponsor for Babes in Business for Coffee because I DM'd them.
Wow.
And said, can I? And they said yes. You don't always get a yes, but sometimes you do. And if you don't ask, the answer is no anyways. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, so there was a woman who I met through Babes in Business, Cece, shout out to you. She has a lot of things that she's doing, amazing entrepreneur, powerhouse woman. But she has she's on Channel 4, and she has Styling with Cece every Friday. And then she also has this, she's like a life coach, but with like beauty and fashion and women's confidence.
Yeah, I think she followed me on Instagram the other day.
Really?
Maybe because she saw me through you.
Maybe.
Yeah, cool.
Maybe. Okay, you should reach out to her. She's really into, she's a burn survivor. She's coming on my podcast, and she's really into, she has a fashion line, and it's called Shop Seaham. And so there was this really intriguing reel that she had where it was like all these girls just having fun and just enjoying themselves, and it's all body types, all cultures, all races, right? And I was like, I love this energy. I DM'd her that. And she was like, be a part of it. And I was like, I have 300 followers, but I would love to be a brand ambassador for you. And now I am. And I told her, I'm like, I don't know what this means, but like, I love you. And just teach me how to be a brand ambassador, and I'm going to do it. And like, now we're meeting this week for the first week. I think there's 6 of us. And we're going to be, I don't know if we get the clothes for free or if we get discounted prices, but then like we have a special link that if people buy her stuff or use her for coaching, we get some of the money from that. I do a certain amount of posts per month for her. And so like the way I'll do that is on my personal page, I might do fun reels, and then I might wear her clothes on my podcast and do it that way. And then I just told her, I'm like, I can't wait to grow so I can help you even more. Like, it's a partnership. The more I grow, the more you grow. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know I love you and I love what you stand for. So whatever you need, I'm here for it, you know? And that's the energy that I think as women, when I think, unfortunately, our initial thought is to be competitive, see someone as a threat. I am like that. I'm very competitive. But when we get over our ego and view others as collaboration, we'll get so much further, you know?
Yeah, and to appreciate too the energy of competition as iron sharpens iron, right? Like you brought up earlier, jealousy. Like, you may trigger jealousy in people, and that reminded me of the super cool article I read recently about the alchemy of, I think they used the word jealousy, the alchemy of jealousy. Okay, right? So if I'm feeling jealous of someone, how do I transmute that into action, essentially, to carry me towards what I want, recognizing that, oh, I'm actually feeling jealous of this person because something about what they have is something that I want, right? That I'm not yet experiencing materially in my life. So actually, thank you for being an inspiration and helping me get clarity on what I want, right? And helping me understand how I can take action in order to also experience that, not instead of you, but in addition to you.
In addition to you.
Yeah. And that article, oh my gosh, it was one, I just love seeing anyone break down the inner alchemical process. 2, there was the super cool story about, little blurb about something that the Roman culture would incorporate.
Okay.
So when a warrior would come back from having won a battle or multiple battles, right? And there's this warrior who's like being acclaimed by the city and marched through the city, paraded, you know, and all of the people are celebrating and throwing flowers and however they're celebrating. they would have a servant sitting right behind the warrior. Have you heard this?
It's a specific leader. It was one of the greatest like Roman military leaders ever. It was Marcus Aurelius.
So my understanding is that the practice was done generally, that it wasn't just for him.
I know it's specifically with him, where he hired someone who would whisper in his ear, "You're just a man. You're just a man.
Remember you're mortal." Yeah. Yeah. Reminding the warriors of their mortality, which was not to undermine their accomplishments, but that to ensure humility as they continued to rise and gain power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know we were running short on time, but
we're good.
But just to mention, like, for me, I think there's two parts of it, right? There's spirituality and then there's religion. And the reason why I separate the two, and I really do think they go hand in hand if done well, but for me, religion is like the practical practice in your daily life. And then spirituality is that inner emotional connection to a higher being, that faith that helps you through the hard times. And so I think for me, my belief in God is something that's always been unwavering, and it's from my mother, and it's generationally. Like, I just come from a very strong background in that, of good role models of it and seeing what faith does for you. So I'm blessed to have that in my life. But I feel like to anyone who is an entrepreneur, I don't know how they could not have faith in their life, because it is such a challenging, sometimes lonely journey. And like, I don't feel like it's me. Even on the times when I have success, like when I don't have success, I'm like, okay, it's nice to lean back on something and be like, there's a purpose, this or better. This seems like rejection, but it's just redirection, right? There was conversations that I didn't know about. Or it was taking me off track and I didn't see it. So thank you for this. And then if it is going well and I'm starting to get a little high and mighty, it's more about being like, okay, this is super exciting and I am proud and I have contributed. But even just an example of being an artist, like when I paint or when I do artwork, I don't feel this ego sense of, oh, I'm so high and mighty. Sometimes I look at the things, I'm like, I don't know how this came out of my hands. I don't know how this happened. And it's a gift and I see clearly. And like, it's so clear to me that everything that's happening is from a greater source. And I just get to be the vessel and the way to bring it into this world. That's my view.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I think about it as light shining through a stained glass window. Yeah, or a crystal. That I'm the stained glass window, the crystal.
I love that.
God sources the light. The further I get on my path, the more I actually understand God source as light, as literal light, and my job is simply to make sure my window is clean.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah. Or that
that's the inner work. Absolutely. Very powerful.
To make sure that my window is clean and that I understand what my window looks like, right? Because my window looks different than your window.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every soul is unique.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is so great.
So awesome. And we will include all the links for anything and everything you want to include on the podcast.
That'd be great. Yes.
Shout outs though before we go. Jew from the Lou on Instagram, and
for my coffee, it's thelecafe.us. So THELECAFE.us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And if you go to either of those Instagrams, there's our link tree where you can connect more deeply. But yes, please give it a like and a follow, especially my podcast on YouTube. I'm trying to grow my YouTube following. So please and thank you.
Sweet. Yes. Yeah, Nechama has so many great guests on her podcast. Amazing to listen to. And yeah, you'll hear regular listeners of this show will have heard my episode with Wayne. So if they were into that, they can hear more about him and a different take on him.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
On Jew from the Lou. Yeah, and some other John, a good friend of mine, was on Nechama's podcast. Amazing guy. If you wanna see where I work out, you can visit John's gym.
Yep, and he's actually gonna probably be coming back a second time because he wants me to check out BioFit.
Sweet.
Because he's like, we can't talk about it and you haven't experienced it because I still haven't gone. And so I will probably do some B-roll when I go there. So our second episode, there'll be like the actual visuals of like, what was that experience like?
Sweet.
Yes.
Cool. Yes.
Yes.
Nice. My body is feeling it from my workout Friday.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Love that. I've been sick for the past few weeks. So Friday was the first day that I just got slowly easing into working out. I did a little lap around the neighborhood and then I did some yoga.
Yeah.
It's hurting.
You're meeting yourself where you're at.
That's right.
We gotta always do that. Can only start from where we're at.
Absolutely.
If you start feeling, for the audience, if you start feeling like you're not where you're supposed to be, well, that's probably a great thought to reprogram. Just get to the root of that. I am right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, you're never late for your own life, like we said before.
I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I have everything I need. There's always more to come. More will be revealed. Okay. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us. This has been the Naturally Rosy podcast. Spend some time outside today. Keep laughing and give someone a hug. Maybe you're the person that needs a hug from you most today.
Yes.
You'll hear us next time.